Morning. Happy Friday. Today is July 17th, and I hope everybody's having a good week. Been a tough summer so far. San Diego on its second lockdown as far as indoor dining. The bars are closed, salons. We're just trying to get through this virus, and we will. Meanwhile, the heat is on. Summer's here. It is hot, and what's happening with peak cycles? I just finished the 9th tail dragger type 2. However, it's the first set up for a 5-inch rear. So we're going to go in the shop, pull it off the jig, do a mock-up on the ground. I don't have any 5-inch wide wheels in hand. However, I have hoops. So we'll throw a 5-inch wide hoop in the rear, a 29er up front, and should give us a good look. After that, we will go through the top 5 must-have tools if you're just starting to fabricate. And again, this is just my opinion. However, I feel it's pretty accurate. We will run through the tools, whether you're on a budget or looking to upgrade. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and hit the shop and see what's happening with peak cycles. And here she is. Just tack welded at the moment. So I got to do the finish weld. And that wide rear end with the 170 millimeter dropout spacing for the Sturmey Archer hub. I'll show you that here in a minute. Got the wide bottom bracket shell there. Always enjoy this part. First looks on the ground. Let's go ahead and pull it off the jig and mock it up. The Sturmey Archer 170 wide hub, pretty much a must for all 5-inch wide wheels. You can go single speed, but if you want gears, this is pretty much it. This is the SX RK3. Moving on to the top 5 tools. Top 5 must-have tools when starting fabrication, especially in the bicycle world. And again, this is just information I'm passing off. Nothing in stone. People ask me all the time, well, what tools should I buy? Or what should I buy first? And so that's what we're going to go through here. We're going to start with the least needed to the most needed, in my opinion. All of it's a necessity, but we're going to start with the least needed at number 5, and that is the tube notcher. Some people use a cutoff wheel or flat disc to create their copes, which is totally fine. For me, that's a guessing game. Having a tube notcher, not only is it more precise, you can control your degree of angle and change out your hole saws to give you different size copes. And you can see here, beautiful, nice, tight, clean copes. Tighter, cleaner copes, better weld. That's a fact. Harbor Freight carries a tube notcher for about 60 bucks. This one here is made by JD Squared and runs $300. Yes, it's not cheap. However, tools, when you invest in tools, a lot of it is not a matter of whether or not it's going to work. It usually has to do with how long they're going to last you. I can tell you this, the Harbor Freight tube notcher does not match up to this. Their tools are getting much better. They have a lot of tools that are comparable, but investing in a tube notcher, well worth the money and will make your life much easier. Number 4. Magnets. These should be pretty up there at the top of the list as far as necessities. However, you'll see as we get through the last 3 that you're just going to need those or you're not going anywhere. So, you ever have that situation, especially fabricating, you wish you had that buddy or somebody to hold something for you? That's why magnets are so important. These yellow ones here are made by Strong Hand Tools, and the name is very appropriate over the fact that they are very strong. They also carry a feature of this switch, which turns off the magnetic pull and makes it easier for you to remove or set in place. Slide it around, turn it on, good to go. Red guys here, over-the-counter magnets you can buy at Home Depot, Harbor Freight, work perfectly. I actually use both. These here on average run about $6 a piece. These strong hand magnets, this version right here runs about $25 to $30 for one. They also have a larger version that runs about $50 to $60 for one magnet. Total luxury, not necessary. Sometimes I'm fabricating, I need to grab something real quick. These red ones work great. I could just grab it, throw it on. Sometimes these are a little work, but it is nice having both. So what I like to do is go into a store or I'm in a shop where I know they're going to carry these, and I buy like one or two, and then next thing you know, after a few visits, you've got a whole set. These here in the center are also made by Strong Hand Tools. They have a pivot on them. Magnets there, magnets on each side. And what I like about these is they grab tubing perfectly. And I've used these in so many different ways. Again, well worth the investment. Bottom line, get yourself some at least red magnets. As many as you can never have too many. Make your life much easier. Number 3, gloves. Not necessarily a tool. However, when I first started, I was using gardening gloves. Seriously. You know those leather gray gloves that have the canvas with the red and blue stripes on them? That's what I was using. They work. I mean, the biggest thing is you're trying to protect your hands from heat. And because they had a leather palm, they work. However, they wore out really fast because the top was canvas. As soon as you start grinding and throwing sparks at it and stuff, it just starts tearing away at the canvas, and you're going through gloves literally every other day. What I'm going to bring up here is the cost for gloves on a budget versus actual brand gloves is not that different. What I mean by that is these here are made by Tillman, been around forever. I wear these gloves every day, all day, doing everything, grinding, cutting, coping. Sometimes I'm tack welding. I don't even switch. I just wear these all day. $10 a pair, $10 a pair. You'll pay that much for Husky gloves or whatever it might be, Home Depot. You'll pay the same price for those, and they will not last you. Welding gloves, again, Harbor Freight sells welding gloves on the average for about $20 a pair. These, Miller, Lincoln, or any of the other brands will run you about $30 a pair. $10 difference. For me, again, I think quality-wise, they just last longer, they feel better. But, again, if you're on a budget, there is nothing wrong with going on the lower end. I'm just bringing this information to you to let you know that when it comes to gloves, there's not a big price difference. At the end of the day, protect those digits. Number 2, grinders. Can't say enough about grinders. That's why it's number 2 on the list. When I first started, I had one grinder. And what happens when you have just one? You find yourself switching from the flap disc to the cutoff wheel. The cutoff wheel, back to the flap disc. Flap disc, cutoff wheel, back and forth all day long, and it gets old really fast. So, did not take me long to invest in a second grinder. Now I don't have to switch. Cutoff wheel stays on this one, flap disc on this one. You can pick up grinders at Harbor Freight on average of $20 to $40. $20. Do yourself a favor and spend at least $40 on a grinder. However, with that said, these DeWalt's, $65. It's still not that much more. And if you look at them up close, I've been using these for years. Every day I beat the hell out of them, and they keep going. So, save your pennies, invest in grinders if you can. 2, you'll be glad you did. On to number 1. You knew this was coming. You just purchased a welder. You can't do any welding without a welding hood. So that's why this is number 1 on the list. One of your first purchases after buying a welder is a welding hood. Harbor Freight sells welding hoods on the average of about $70. I personally have never used a Harbor Freight hood. I don't know its quality or use. However, I hear that it's fine for when you're just getting started. I know a lot of guys that use them. $70. Once you start getting into welding brand hoods, this is actually my very first hood. This is a Lincoln Viking. Did well for me. I used it for a long time. You can tell I beat the crap out of it. One of the biggest differences you'll see in welding hoods when it comes to lower end cost versus high end cost is analog settings. I think they're getting away from this now. However, with the lower end or lower priced hoods, I believe they're still using it. Analog, you've got the twist knobs inside and on the side here, and you're just trying to find that happy medium. With the higher end hoods, everything's digital. A push button display in there, no mistaking where you're at. The other difference is the view here. You look closely, that little rectangle right there, that's as much area as you have to see out of the hood. You can see it gets bigger and bigger. The best way I can describe it is this is like a 1985 NFL helmet. And this is like the 2000 big wide open NFL helmet. Also with the clear lens technology on the new hood, I mean, it's literally night and day. Full color display, it's crazy. Once you start getting into name brand welding hoods, they start on an average of about $200, and then they go up from there, up to 300 and more. Again, not necessary, just throwing out information so that if you decide to upgrade or just bite the bullet from the go, you know what you're looking at. Back in the office, hope you enjoyed that. Quick recap, that when I first started, my shop didn't look anything like it does today. I didn't have the tool selection I have today. It's taken me years to get to this point. With that said, be patient, one tool at a time, and you'll be there too. If you decide to go the budget route or Harbor Freight tools, I talked about how Harbor Freight tool quality is getting better. And what I mean by that is a lot of their tools are being manufactured by the same manufacturing plants as all these top brands. I've also had my share of just pure garbage. It doesn't last, breaks after a couple of days, and you can just tell the quality is not there. Next time you're in Harbor Freight, if you're not already on their mailing list, they send out these mailers that shows their sales every week, and to me, everything's the same on sale. Nothing ever changes, just the outside cover, and you get this 20% off coupon, which is handy when you're purchasing a high ticket item. But what you want to look for when you're looking through this ad and you're looking at tools, and I don't know how many people know this, but when you see a tool and it's priced, underneath, not all of them say this, but underneath it'll say compares to. So it'll say compares to a certain brand, compares to a Milwaukee, or compares to Porter Cable, whatever it might be. And what they're saying is that that particular tool is being manufactured at the same manufacturing plant as that company. It's the same tool, essentially the same tool, just a different color, and it's unbranded. Those are the tools you're interested in. That's pretty much going to wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed today's version of what's happening with Peak Cycles. And until next time, make it a killer day.